Okay, so let me just jump into this really quick. So one of the things that we run into a little bit is how to calculate your lead price. And so I just want to show you something. This is how we do our math. This is really how we've grown our business going forward. And I think that you might find this really, really helpful as a benchmark going forward. So let me just walk through some of the numbers. When you're normally in a StreetText account now, you're normally looking at your odometer on the left-hand side. And the challenge with the odometer, we're making a bunch of changes to it. But one of the challenges of the odometer is you don't really know if the performance of your ad is good or bad compared to what it should be in your market. And so I just want to kind of walk you through this a little bit. And again, it's just sorry about my voice. But let's say your average commission in your market is $6,000. So you just look at one end in your market. Maybe you're in a luxury market. Maybe it's 50,000 or 40,000. Maybe it's 2,500. It doesn't really matter. And I can share this afterwards so you can do the math yourself. But at some point, and each ad could be in a little bit of a different market too. Like you might be running a seller ad in a market that's 800,000, another seller ad in another market that's 600,000, right? So then what we look at is the conversion rate. Now, the conversion rate, if you're going to look online, is going to be anywhere between 2 to 5 to 7% for online leads. And it really just comes down to the individual agent's ability to convert, some of the extra things that they may be using, tools like BombBomb, whatever it may be, right? There's lots of ways to improve that. There's lots of ways to bring that down as well if you don't, speed to lead, whatever it may be. So I'm going to move this number around a little bit and show you a couple things. And then the next thing is your ROI multiplier. Now, this is a really important number. And the way we have always just kind of used 15 as a benchmark. So that basically means for every dollar that you spend on Facebook, you don't want to get just $1 back. If you're getting just $1 back on Facebook for every dollar you spend, it's not worth your time. And what I mean by that is there's too much energy going into it. So we want to make sure that you're getting $15 back for every $1 that you're spending. And that gives you room to do a lot of other things, be it if you need to hire some people, be it if you want to add on some tools like, BombBomb, whatever else it may be. There's a lot of other tools, powering your CRM, whatever it may be. 15 times a multiplier is a good multiplier. So in this particular example here, if you were converting 5% of your leads and you have a $6,000 average commission, you want to make sure that you're in your $20 a lead or sub $20 a lead. And over the course of a year, if you're converting 5%, you're still going to do very, very well. And so I'm going to break that down here more in a moment going forward as well. But if you're only converting, say, 3% of your leads, you shouldn't be spending more than about $12 a lead for that same scenario to play out. And let's say, if you're really struggling and you're at 2%, you shouldn't be paying more than about $8 a lead. Now, of course, if that lead cost drops, you're doing great. But this just kind of gives you a ceiling. So this is a great number. Now, of course, again, if you're in a market, say it's $16,000 a commission, all things being equal, you can spend more per lead. And this is a really important benchmark because every market is different. Every area is different. Every type of ad is different. And you need to really be able to just kind of like benchmark that. Oh man, my voice. I really do apologize. Okay, so, but then here's the next thing. So we have agents that spend obviously a lot of money on Facebook. Agents spend north of $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month. It really just comes down to once this can begin to scale. And so if you're spending, say, $400 a month here on your ads and your lead price is it's just going to pull this number here. This is going to be your ad spend, and this should be your multiplier at 15 times. And really the math just plays out based on that 2% conversion. If it's 3%, the numbers are actually going to stay the same here. And the reason being is all I'm doing is increasing the lead price you can spend, but you're going to convert more of them. So the numbers are going to stay the same at that 15 times multiplier. Of course, if the leads drop and you're only paying $10 a lead, that's when you're going to see a lot more margin on the revenue. But the reason I wanted to show you this is for two reasons. One, use something like this when you benchmark your ads. So if you're running ads in an area, don't hear, like if you're hearing people that are getting $2 leads or $3 leads, that's great, that's amazing. But make sure that you look at this as just a straight up business decision. If you're spending money on Google ads or Facebook ads or any other kind of marketing, there should be a return going forward. And you should be able to set an appropriate lead cost based on what your market is. And this is, like I said, this is exactly what we do. I mean, these guys know it in the company as well. We look at what are we paying per lead? What is our conversion rate over a period of time? And we have the same thing that all other agents do. Some of our leads are going to convert. They're a little bit more ready. Some of them are 3 months out, 6 months out. Some of them are a year out. It's exactly the same concept. And so we watch those numbers really, really carefully. But we're willing to spend a lot more because it's scalable once you have an appropriate range. Like in other words, if I thought I could only spend $5 a lead, but I could actually spend $32 a lead, every time I start hitting $8 or $9 or $10 a lead, I'm going to start panicking because I never really looked at the numbers. And so I might hit the brakes or turn my ads off or stop all the momentum I've been creating because I didn't look at it the right way. And that's just why I wanted to cover this on the mastermind at the beginning is that whatever your market is and whatever you feel comfortable as your conversion rate, and you can set that as a number going forward, then you can benchmark that going forward. So that's the first thing I wanted to talk about. The second thing, and I think this is, I know George, you're on it. I know Leon, you think about this a lot too, is that this is the hardest part really in your real estate business. So what I mean by that is that everything else there's a process. You can hire virtual assistants to do a ton of your business, your paperwork. You can have other agents in your team that help walk clients through the transaction. There's really good tools out there. But what a lot of big teams have done, and I think this is a mistake, is that they bring in a lot of leads and then they immediately assign those leads to team members. They just auto-assign them and they wonder why the conversion rate is so low. And the reason the conversion rate is low is because there's no relationship, there's no conversation, there's nothing, there's no connection with that lead. We're working with a team out of Canada, Sam McDaddy. They're the largest real estate, he is the largest guy in Canada on that side. And what they do is they make sure that every StreetText lead that comes in first goes to their in-house ISA. And I would say in your case, it really should be you guys doing this like Misty does. But, it goes into their ISA. Once a conversation has been started, be it through either email or text or a bomb-up video, whatever it may be, and they've warmed those leads up and they've started some conversation, they then are able to hand that lead over to someone on their team and the conversion goes up. But the reason I said this is the hardest part, but this is also the most exciting part, is when you figure this out, and I know you guys all have already, but when you own this part and you know how to generate a lead on Facebook, you're in control of your own lead generation, and you have the math figured out, and you know how to start those conversations, you can build a massive team around you. Because everything else from that point, you can just scale going forward. This is the most critical part. And if you can insert yourself, which is you're the unique real estate agent, and you can build relationship with these leads, and you can do that the way that I see so many of you are doing it and the stories that are emerging, you're unstoppable in any market. And people will always come and join your team, and other agents will always want to work with you, or just expand. I always talk about an expanding team because we really believe in that, but you don't have to. You can still just do this yourself. But the point is if you can do it right and you know your numbers, you can survive any market, and then your database just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then of course, those leads you can email for free going forward. So let's take a look at some of the questions here, and feel free to jump in if anybody's got anything to say.
What's constituting a lead? Is that a cost per address, cost per email, cost per what? What's a lead quantified?
Great question. I always look at it as cost per email. So for me, I need to have an email because I love the addresses and there's lots of value in those. But I know that if I can get an email conversation started, I'm going to be more likely to convert them. So I always look at it as cost per email. That's how I look at it. But again, you can do your own math. If you heavily rely on phone numbers, just move the numbers around and just know that I need to be paying this per phone number, for instance. Or, in the case of Donna, she never ever phones people and she doesn't worry about email. She could probably move this number down, or, it really depends on how she looks at it. But she could, from an address, she can get those all day long and well be within those numbers, right? So it just depends. The other thing you can move is your multiplier. You could move it down, but I like to have a 1 to 15. I think if you're in that 1 to 15 range, you could just grow basically forever. And what I mean by that is that there's lots of margin in that to build some really good systems around it and then to scale. And then of course you just start picking up your ad spend. So in time, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. You've got all those systems in place. You can spend a lot more money knowing what your return is going to be coming down. So let me answer these questions. Keep asking them, Marcus, if there's anything else.
Yeah, I was going to say, what if someone wants to work backwards? Maybe they know how many deals they've done, but they don't know their actual ROI. Or is there a way we can help them with that to figure out what they've made from StreetText and basically what they've spent and so forth?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's going to be a little bit different in that case. Then it'd be a little hard on the spreadsheet, but basically you just sum up the deals you've done and sum up your ad spend and your StreetText and take, and then obviously just figure out what that multiplier is. What is your return versus what you spent so far? I think the thing that's hard sometimes, and the reason we're going to start moving all of our odometer over to the ROI side. We're going to start putting a lot more of this in the account. And the reason I want to do that is all of you guys are business people, but having these numbers front and center, being able to see the scope of your pipeline, seeing the value of your pipeline, I think it helps you make a better decision, because sometimes when you're just looking at spend, if you're looking and you go, oh, I've spent, $2,000 on Facebook in the last few months, and your focus is there, it can be hard to be maybe more critical of the conversion or the immediacy or whatever it may be. But when you take a look instead and go, I actually have X amount of leads that are potentially worth this kind of money, it changes that narrative. And, I bounce between that in our own business all the time. Sometimes I look at the wrong number, and it actually makes me I almost want to slow things down to get control of it. And if I look at the right number, I'm much more willing to expand things up. And it's all of this is mindset. All business growth, so much of it is just mindset. And so we're going to put a lot more of this into the StreetText system, and we're going to change the odometer to reinforce these numbers. And I think we can do a much better job of putting these numbers front and center. But I have had clients, I think it breaks my heart when I see a client leave and they've had enormous ROI. But when I ask them what their ROI is, they actually don't know it. They're not sure what it was. And then when we calculate it, they go, oh, actually, it is a lot more than I thought. And, you don't want to leave something if it is giving you great ROI, but I don't blame somebody for leaving something if they're looking at just how much they've spent and they kind of lost track of where those deals came from. So that's really, the purpose behind, all of this. Great. Okay. Well, I think I see more just sports questions kind of going on here. Does this make sense to everybody? I mean, I can't see all of your face. I'm going to just kind of scroll through. Just nod if this makes sense, if you find this interesting. If you want me to share this, by all means, you can have it. After this mastermind, we'll just make it available. Problem is, Marcus, do we know everybody's email that attended this particular mastermind? Everybody's email?
I'm not sure. I mean, they can always
if you want this, just email me here, Stephen at StreetText. I'll just post it. If you want this spreadsheet, just email me there, and I'll make sure that you get this after this mastermind, and you can use this going forward. And again, we're going to move this into the account, but this is just simple. It's easy to calculate. It's not that hard. But why I find this helpful is yesterday on my ad class, when I was going through, with clients, what we would do basically is we would just start by talking a little bit about an industry conversion average. I'd ask where, what their market is. So if the case, some of the guys' markets was $12,000, we would then jump into their account. And if they're paying $11 a lead, they've got room. If they're paying $8 a lead, they got lots of room. Even if they're paying $18 or $19, they're getting closer. They need to keep an eye on those ads. But it was really helpful for everybody because we could benchmark independently their own market based on the performance that they were getting. So, all right.
So Steve, is that calculating the StreetText cost in that, or just?
No. So the StreetText cost is going to go into this 15 times multiple. And what I mean by that is I'm just straight up looking at how much can you spend for a lead directly on Facebook based on your market. Remember, for every dollar that you're investing for these numbers to make sense, if you're converting 3% over the course of a year, you're going to get 15 times back in terms of the investment side. So for every $1, you're going to get $15 back. So the StreetText is going to be built into that. There's going to be a lot of other systems that are built into that. And that's why I want a 15 times multiple. So there's lots of margin for you to add things. Now, of course, if you convert one lead, you're going to have 15 times multiple, but the sum of the gross of that is going to be smaller. But as the volume increases, it becomes exponential. Obviously, you can get that 15 times. So, and even if you're only converting, 1.5%, it'll still show 2%. You're still going to get, at 15 times multiple, you can spend $12 a lead in this market, and you're going to, you can still spend $12 a lead over the course of the year, even converting only 2%. And if you're spending $400 a month, you can safely, see about $72,000 back over the course of the year that you can directly contribute from StreetText. And this won't include, the reason I always think that lead generation, if it's done right, is the fastest way to grow your business, is because when a lead comes in, and you guys are all great agents, you build a strong relationship, that client is going to refer somebody else to you. They are going to do it. It is going to happen. We see it all the time. I know you see it all the time. So what you're doing is you're just buying that client that's going to come in, but then they're just free from that point on, and they will bring you more clients. But whenever I see an agent that says, I never buy an online lead, I only work with repeating referrals, that's great. but so do all of you. It's just a matter of I'm just making sure that I'm going to get more clients in the door that are going to talk to me today that I can then build relationship with.
Steve, I think a good portion of or something to talk about here is because someone said, how long should someone run ads to get those numbers? And we had a discussion in the insider group just this past few days where this guy was like, should I give up? I haven't converted a lead and I'm 4 months in. So this, I think, is an excellent time to actually address your ROI can't be established in 3 months if you're running this type of system. How would you, who wants to take over? Leon, I see you're really enthusiastic about what I'm saying right now. Go ahead and talk about this. And George, feel free to come in here too, because I think mindset's everything when you start this top of funnel type of lead generation and conversion concept.
Hi, I'll kick it out there. I've got a different approach I'm doing, and it's all market-based anyway. But anytime you do online leads, from the word go, you always hear, you got to commit at least 4 to 6 months. Nobody gets out of bed going, I'm buying a house today or selling. So the first thing, the commitment is the time frame. And always, even myself, my worst thing, like I said, was the follow-up. I freely admit it. I've got my call center up and running. I've got my folks calling. And what they do is, and I'm working sellers only, they pass those over to me, but I still get buyers that trickle through. And when they come to me, I match them up against my lenders. I don't work with just one. I don't like doing shared programs with some of my lenders because I don't want to be obligated, because if they don't have a program that fits, a lot of them don't want to admit it to lose a deal, but now it costs you a deal and people move away from you. So the biggest thing I do agree is yourself or someone very good needs to sit here and get these guys in front of the lender, or if it's a seller, you need to get them set up so that like my automation's running. They're getting texts, they're getting emails, and I have a buttload every day that I track, I go through. I only got every now and then reach out, but as an individual agent, 4 to 6 months, you got to do the follow-up, you got to hit them up. I honestly used to sit there, and I've been doing this for a long damn time, but I used to worry I was bothering people too much. You always say, try till they buy or die. And I was like, so the only thing I don't get out of is I'm not calling you at 8 o'clock in the morning unless I'm responding to you. But that's twofold, because if you start answering texts and emails at 6 or 7 in the morning, they're going to keep coming at you. So it's always get back to them in a hurry, do the follow-up. Last year I was laughing because in the first 3 days, when I did StreetText, it was funny because I got a deal right away, had it listed 4 or 5 days later. It's like, okay, it's paid for the year, so now I'm free to experiment, however. But you have to definitely do that 4 to 6 month window, because until you get people off the fence moving to where they're going to go, nothing's going to happen. But with that said, you don't just sit on one deal and pat yourself on the back. You still have to be working other things. And the appraisal thing, or not appraisal, but the referrals, ask for them. You still need to ask for those. Our problem sometimes, we assume. I see people on the groups all butthurt that my friend sold to someone else. And then sometimes I tell them, your friends close might not want you to know their personal business. So in that case, you let them know, hey, if you go to a lender, Privacy Act, I don't know these things. If you're talking to someone selling, who knows your house better than me, kind of thing. But we have a closed mouth, and the closed mouth is not going to get fed. So in that 4 to 6 months, you still have to proactively be going after it. And then Marcus, I got something I'm gonna throw in later for the bomb automations, because we were talking about this the other day. And I was gonna ask you, have you been running any automations out of bomb for follow-ups with the set it and forget it? Because one of the things that I did was, when StreetText shuts off the reply for the text, I let it run the whole time. And once that shuts off the text, I throw them into a different text program I have, so they're still getting the touch, because everybody forgets that text gets opened much quicker than emails and more often.
I love it. Yeah, no, I mean, you can share it right now if you want to talk about it.
No, I want to let George go, because I know he runs some good stuff.
George, go for it.
The heat is on. So for me, I'm very numbers oriented. And Marcus, while I'm kind of going over the numbers, I actually lost track of how many days I've been with StreetText. I think it's in the 60s somewhere. But they're talking about ROI, and our own ROI is important for me, my family, but also my business. And right now we're running 2 StreetText accounts. We have one for each county designated under 2 different brands. And so far the ROI has just been amazing. In such a small period of time, like I look at Misty and I'm like, oh my God, she has a much greater ad spend than I do right now, but it doesn't mean that we won't get up to that level. But when we were talking to her and interviewing her on Lab Coat Agents, You know, she was going on 2 to 5 listing appointments every day. We're getting great results. We have 1 official signed contract at $365. We're getting ready to sign 2 more at $399 and $289. But just based on ROI, we spent right now on Facebook advertising $1,147.29 as of today. I just shut down 1 non-performing ads. Now I'm running 1 at $9 a day. 420 leads just on this account. This is my master account, so I keep track of this one tooth and nail, and then my partner on the other one does. And we have our cost per lead is $2.73. Right now, just based on the 1 listing, if we sell it, we're listing it at $365. We're supposed to go live today, going live Monday instead. Photos got delayed. But right there, we're at a 8.7 to 1 ratio based on what we spent with StreetText and the advertising all the way. I mean, that's pretty good. And a lot of people don't understand that. You know, some agents go, oh, if I make 3 to 1, I'm happy. Well, 3 to 1 for me is garbage. You know, I want 5 to 1 or better. And I would have to judge and just estimate that out of all 420 leads, we have about 57 to maybe 59 nurtures, like the people that didn't tell us to go F ourselves, the people that did reply. You know, like we still get those people because they're shocked, they're nervous because they didn't think that somebody was going to be on the other side. They thought they were just going to click and get an automation and that was it. But there is real people on the side, and it's us, and we're, you know, not hammering people, but we just follow up. If we don't follow up, like I'm door knocking 7 homes today. I tell everybody that the address onlys, some way to impress them is door knocking. Because again, if you do, let's say 5 to 7 a day, 3 days a week, that's 15 to 21 opportunities. Then all of a sudden that's 60 to like 82 opportunities a month. I said, you know, it's all about the opportunities and average. Because sometimes I don't want to do a bomb. Sometimes I want to jump in my car, jam on the music and everything else. But based on the other 2 listings, if we sign those, it'll be $1,050,000 in listings from StreetText. And if we sell both of them or all 3 of them, $31,500 potential GCI, gross commission income, and it'll be a 27.4 to 1 ratio spent.
That's amazing. And you can't calculate future potential ROI either. That's the hard thing.
Because again, but I honestly think if we have, let's say 57 to 59 nurtures, I honestly think that 20 to 30 will end up being a listing. It could be 1 month, 6 months, 12 months. We don't know. But I think with our follow-up and everything that we're doing, like even the people that told us to go F ourselves by door knocking last week, we're still going to mail them every 60 days because they can't stop that, you know, and we're just going to try and wiggle our way in with them, you know.
So I think the hard part for some people, George, and maybe you can give them a recommendation, is some people are starting with StreetText and they're kind of lost to how are they going to create a nurturing program if they don't, all they have is StreetText to work off of. They don't have a lot of systems like Leon set up or you or anybody else for that matter, the long-term nurturing capacity. What would you recommend for these guys in terms of how they can stay top of mind?
You know, it's funny. I actually talked to an agent from Orlando that is doing the 7-day trial through StreetText. And I told him, I said, unless you have 3 hours set aside every single day to either write the thank you cards that I have a stack over here that I have to send out, unless you're going to be doing the bomb videos, unless you're going to be doing research, like I scrub every single lead that comes in. Like now my biggest campaign today is spend 2 hours on friending everybody. There's 420 leads. I'm hoping by the end of this weekend, I'll have 300 new friends on Facebook, you know? So every day I'm trying to build on what, one, I've learned on StreetText Academy, but also what I've learned at other conferences and everything else. And if you dedicate, I mean, StreetText will keep you busy 3 hours a day, every day. If you're not putting in the honest effort in order to try and convert at any level, period.
Anyone want to open up to that based on what they've been doing with their follow-up? And I think that'd be great. You know, it'd be the time to mastermind. George and Leon are always on, but I haven't heard from some of you guys. So go ahead and unmute yourselves. And I know Denise, love to hear from you. I'm gonna bring you out. Some of the new faces here too. Yeah, just go ahead and mute yourself. Hey, Marley, good to see you back. You know, I was using your video for a long time, so I can't wait to get you back in here talking about the bomb mom. You're like a perfect fit for this.
I know, I got it back activated, so we should be all good. Go check to make sure the link is still working. Yeah, back at it. So ready to go full force for sure. I just wanted to have a question. I know when I was doing it a couple months ago, are a lot of people still doing kind of the initial card to just address only leads?
The initial card to address only. So I would recommend, Marley, there's a couple ways. There's, if you go in the insider group, there's some great discussion around it right now, even asking for appointments and sending cards back. But for a lot of you guys, pulling up tax records is going to be an awesome opportunity to connect with them and research them back on Facebook, because with the advanced search of Facebook, a lot of the time you can find them. If you go to people and then the area that you were marketing in, you can find those people, and then you want to try to connect with them. I think a big part of that, George, and everybody else here, when you're sending something in the mail or if you're dropping something off, always make sure that you leave it with, if you are intending on friend requesting them and sending them a message in their message request folder, let them know that in the letter as well. So then when they go, point back to, and with that, I think there's an excellent opportunity if you guys are BombBomb users to start considering using the screen recording and actually walking them through what you'd like them to do. Walk them through the message request folder, walk them through your Calendly link, showing them options you have. So it's not just you bombing them with a video of you, but you actually walking them through and actually even talking about how you arrive to the value. So it's not just you talking about it, but you're going from tab to tab to tab. And if you understand the BombBomb screen recording, you're still going to be in there talking on the little corner on the bottom left-hand side, but now you're actually talking through the home value and maybe specifically addressing questions. And I think a big part of this, some opportunities to, even on your automation, is to let them know when you're going to get back to them and what they should be looking out for, so they can expect a second follow-up from you. Right? So I think that's a big part of them. Like when you're saying, hey, this is Marcus from Remax Kelowna. Thank you so much for your Facebook home valuation request. I'm going to be sending you an email in the next few hours. Let them know when your time blocking is and when you usually actually respond, so you can actually set that up for success, and let them know how you're going to respond to them so they can expect a video coming from you or whatever. I think there's a big portion of like the setup that we forget about that can kind of set you up as an assist for the big power play.
Hey, Marcus,
on a tangent there.
Do you mind if I jump in on something? On something actually that Leon had said. Leon, you said that you're sending them to more, like you're keeping the text messages going, right? Something that I did this week for a client, Susan, I went in and I was just taking a look at her Julie conversations. And all we did, we went in and we actually just started writing, because there was a chance that she had missed some of her home valuations going out. So we wrote a quick little message and we said, hey, there's a chance that you didn't get your home evaluation. A couple of people had said they hadn't got it. And we just went through and sent them, and we got a ton of responses. So, I mean, for any of you that have a whole bunch of Julie conversations, that's a great way just to get the conversation rolling again. And then it gives you an opportunity just to ask a few more questions about the home, make sure you get that valuation to them, or pop by. But so it's really use that tool too, because whenever I'm in people's accounts, I see so many Julie conversations, and sometimes they look unanswered or they're kind of old, but it's a great way just to kind of bring them back, just to see who's, even if you go through every single person, if you get 2 or 3 responses, those are the people that are kind of maybe following right now, and you just brought them to the top of the list, and then just work on those 3, and one of them might turn into a listing appointment, or take it from there.
I think that's so well said. I mean, I think what we were talking about today is you guys are tracking your cost per lead, but we should really be tracking our cost per reply. And I think a big portion of this is starting with really light questions, and sometimes even confirming details about their house. Anybody trying that? Like where you're saying, hey, just want to confirm this is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, right? Like if you confirm that, you get the answer. As far as you getting any answer, then it kind of opens up the conversation. But you don't start too aggressively, or else you never get a response. But if you're confirming information so you can get them that value, I think that's an excellent way to start, and then kind of continue the conversation, especially if you have Julie. Anybody been trying that? Leon, have you tried that type of confirming the info that you have from tax records or whatever you're pulling?
Yeah, we've got a really good system. We have Realist here. So like I said, I'm just sellers only. So what I do is when I come in, even address only, I'll pull them up. I use, because of George, thank you, George, truepeoplesearch.com has been really good. Tracking down people sometimes, even if the name on there, because a couple of mine I've pulled up, actually haven't had the owner name, but then I went in and cross-referenced for associated people with them. And I got a couple that's in Hawaii on vacation till next week that their friend was sitting at dinner with them, turned around and went in and came into the StreetText system off his Facebook. And when I went and looked them and backtracked them to the Facebook, I was laughing because they're posting their Hawaii vacation pictures. So I sent them something out of my Outlook, and I was laughing because I've got the BombBomb logged into it. It told me they opened the email, and they came back and opened it a couple of times during the night. So when they get back, I'm gonna sit down and talk to the couple about selling their house. And it was their friend that was looking for them that triggered the Facebook thing. And then I had one from yesterday where the guy sat there and said, hey, I don't know who this is. The name didn't show up. And I went in there and I was laughing. I said, oh, this is Julie from the Premier Houses team. I'm just, I sent you something earlier, just making sure you got it. And the guy went back and opened the email because he hadn't opened it yet. And so I'm just waiting to do a follow up with him.
Awesome. Anybody else experimenting with stuff like that? I mean, I think it's so fun to think about how you want your automations to fire off. And so Leon, you said you've been putting in BombBomb videos. Has anybody been playing around with like a video? Troy, you told me that you had one of your clients put in a video for every single place in the 9-month-long drip campaign. Is that correct?
Yeah, every single email that goes out in that 9-month drip campaign, she's dropped a BombBomb video in every single one, and it looks beautiful.
I think that's huge. And I think part of that go ahead.
I'm going away from that though. What I'm doing is I'm just setting reminders and you know how it takes just to be personalized, you're always saying. I want to know that they open it. Now that I know that when they open it in the StreetText, I can't track it like that. What I'm finding is I've got a couple more days that I'm going to do through the whole campaign where I do have the videos going out. But then when I go through the other stuff, I'm going to go ahead and just fire off videos to those guys because I'm only hitting the one, I've got several, I have 300 plus in there or something like that, but I'm not sending all of them. I'm only sending those that are actively engaged looking, because at that point I can direct it to them personalized with their name so they know it's not a canned video I'm sending them.
I think that's a big portion of it. We got to truly figure out how to become masters at tracking to see not only opens, but like the one thing I love about the Chrome extension on Gmail, and I don't know if it's the same in Outlook, is when you send something and then you can go search for that person by the tracking method, you can see what's been opened, what's been watched, what's been clicked on. So I think that's going to be a big key moving forward, is trying to figure out with every single leads, who's actually actively engaging these leads so we know who to actually stay on top of.
Outlook does show that too.
Outlook does? Okay, perfect. Yeah, I mean, maybe that's something, Steve, we can really focus on moving forward, is trying to figure out how we can track the, the opens and making sure we're also breaking that down on cost per reply. Yeah,
on our tech side, John was informing me there's actually quite an easy way to do that. Well, I mean, when I say easy, I mean, it's still time consuming, but there is actually a way that we can do that. So yeah, if that is something that you would find really helpful, we can definitely escalate it. We have a lot of features coming, and we basically, including requests from all of you. So we basically just have a big process of sort of like a backlog, and then we just keep organizing it based on demand. So just know that we hear everything that you ask for. So if there's something, be it a feature or be it just something you want us to change in the system, like even if you go log in now on your phone for the first time ever, this is still really, really new. But if you log in on your phone, actually, you may have to refresh the first time you log in, but you'll actually notice that the conversations now are the first thing that you see in your account, and you can actually respond to Julie on your phone a lot easier than you've ever been able to do before. So, we're really working towards the mobile side a lot more. So, that's been number one most requested thing that everybody's been asking for, is just make sure it works on my phone. So that's what we're working on right now. And yeah, but as far as the email tracking, it's definitely in the list.
Has anyone noticed anything as far as the opens are concerned with changing up a subject line, dropping in emojis, perhaps, links versus no links? Because I know Richard was just asking about not getting opens. Have anybody noticed how to get more BombBomb opens? Anybody been playing around with that?
Marcus, did you show people how they can use the address? I believe you can use the actual property address in the initial email. It's not set up that way, but you can always put that field in, right?
Yeah, no, that's something that is now a default. Let's see if I can share one, and I'll show people how to do this, because this is the next
While you're bringing that up, I will say, just from my experience, having an emoji in the subject line definitely gets more clicks. And you got to look at it like when you're looking at your emails. I mean, we all get it. We get like 100 emails a day or whatever. And it's just text. And then all of a sudden you see one that has an emoji in it. it just draws your eye. Out of the stack of emails that are there, you're more likely going to be to click on that, right? And you got to remember that everybody's inboxes are just inundated these days. They're full. So how are they going to see your email amongst the mass that's sitting there?
100% agree. Here's the default one right now. So for all you guys, I would probably put something like this in there. If you can see the default one, received your Facebook home valuation request for, and there's those brackets around contact.address, ... and I'm on it. There's a little house emoji there, right? Facebook is all capitals. You guys all seen that there? I can put this in the chat feature.
Yeah, there's a chance for clients that already had funnels built before that are connected to the ads that they won't have that in their address. So you can always you can copy and paste that, and people can copy and paste and put it in their email, and it'll work going forward. And they can always do a quick test on it too.
Yeah, no, I mean, if I'm in my email inbox every single morning when I arrive to the office, I go to delete all and then just unclick the ones that I'm going to keep. And so I'm looking for something that catches my attention because I'm a lot of times not going to click on any of those emails. So you got to
also say your first email is so incredibly important as well. As if you send that initial email and somebody watches it and it's not valuable, they don't resonate with the verbiage in there or whatever it may be, they're highly unlikely to continue clicking on the rest of your emails as well. So make sure that the subject line of your first email and the content of that first email is right on par, so that the likelihood of them continuing through the series of emails is also enhanced.
Yeah, and don't just rely on automations. You better have a great personal response, just like Logan was saying, and make it so personal. Write their name on it. Like if you're getting emails, make sure your second individual email has their name on the whiteboard, that you're talking to John, that you're talking to Sydney, that you're talking to that person as if you were face-to-face at their door, acknowledging their address. And I feel like if you're really looking to experiment, start considering the screen recording. Because if you have their screen recording, you could have a satellite image of their house pulled up. You could be moving around the neighborhood. You could be directing them to the Calendly link where you want to book for coffee, where you want to do a quick call or a 15-minute walkthrough. You could be actually walking them through the message that you sent them on Facebook, and that they probably don't see it because it's in their request folder. Here's how you get to that request folder. You can be telling them, I'm going to send you something in the mail. I always make sure here's a coffee coupon, no, it's no obligation, complimentary. Like that type of word needs to be coming out clearly after everything you do. They're not going to work with you unless they feel like you're authentic and genuine, and you have to use video to do that. And I would say the screen recording aspect of that allows you to go through multiple tabs and kind of direct them how you'd like to start that relationship. So I'm a big fan right now. I'm doing a lot of my own automations with screen recording, and some of you may have gotten them. And I think that the next level of BombBomb is going to be those who use screen recordings and kind of direct that portion of where you want to go in that relationship next. So anyone, George, I'll be relying on you to do that. All right, guys.
Remember, the other thing you can do too is if you send that email out, send a text message saying, hey, I just sent you an email. And sometimes my emails find their way into your spam box.
Dude, right on. After you send that email, if you do have that person's phone number, always follow up with a text message. I do that every time because if it goes into another folder, you want them to have them search. You might even say in that text message, search for, and you're at your email if you can't find this video, right? This way you know they got it. And then you could, most of the time when I do that, I follow up with that text if I have their phone number. I will see the open right away in my tracking feature. They'll actually go to their email. So that's a big part of that for sure. Anybody else on that? I'm looking for some discussion here. Who wants to chat?
Now, the thing with the phones, what I do is if they have a phone number in there, I just put a link for phonevalidator.com. I go verify that it is in fact a cell phone or a landline, because a lot of times you get some people that put a voice over IP number in there as well. And even though those can get text messages, most people don't understand how to do it. So before you just automatically assume it's a cell phone number, verify that the number is in fact something text to.
Good call. Patricia, I know you're on here. I haven't heard from you for a while. Denise, what have you been using BombBomb? Have you noticed any, have you been getting responses from them or opens? Yeah, go ahead and tell us about it if you don't mind. If you want, you can unmute yourself or I can unmute you. It's up to you.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I actually just went through, I started in April, and I've been going through all my April leads that have not connected with me in the last 30 days and been sending BombBomb videos. And this week I've gotten 4 responses for appointments. So the BombBomb works well for me. And
so going back to April, because April, May, how many months ago was April? Now this one, March, April, May, June, July, I got to think of this. So that's a while back. So how have you stayed in touch with them? And did you just decide you're going to do a quarterly check-in type of thing?
Yep. I just decided it had been 4 months, so I was going to offer an update on what was going on in their neighborhood.
Perfect. And that's all you did, is just, did you address them individually, or was it more about?
Yep, I held up my little whiteboard with their name and said, hi, I'm just checking in. It's been 4 months. A lot has probably happened in your neighborhood. Let me know if you want an update. And they responded, and then I was able to set up an appointment. So
awesome. So you've been doing StreetText since April. How many appointments have you gone on?
I've been on 6 appointments.
Awesome.
And I've gotten 3 under contract, 2 have closed, 1's pending, and then I've got the other 2 are kind of more in the spring. So I'll just keep in touch with them.
I can imagine that's some good ROI. What's the average house sell for in that market of yours?
My average commission is around $5,000 to $6,000.
Awesome.
So yeah.
So that's great. And what's your average spend on Facebook?
I haven't been spending that much, actually. I've been spending about $250 a month.
Oh, wow. That's going to be some good ROI there for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited.
Exciting. Awesome. Anybody else want to share about how they've been using any of their follow-up? I like that. That quarterly check-in's amazing. I think we forget about that. That's perfect to do. Come back in with a video, introduce yourself, name on the board. Love it. Am I going to have to start calling people out on here? This is hilarious. This is a mastermind.
Everybody's so shy.
I know. Come on, guys. You guys are all realtors. Ask some questions.
Hey, Marcus, go ahead now at that point. Touch on that. Are you using BombBomb for any automation to automatically send out with a set it and forget it?
Am I right now? No, I need to. That's smart. I'm kind of relying on Steve and John to help me with that, because they're like the system guys, or I'm wearing too many hats. Right? Steve, you're helping me with that.
I don't think I've ever seen you wear a hat, Marcus. Never once. Your hair's too pretty.
You're right.
Yeah, I would say most of your follow-up is typically unautomated, and you could automate more, but I think specifically Marcus, any of you guys know Marcus is like high activities. And so I think you almost would run into your automations. Like you wouldn't even know your automations are going out half the time, and you'd be messaging people anyway.
I'm like a machine. I'm my machine. Text, video, messenger. You're never gonna not know to get to this.
So I think that's probably the reason that you don't have much of a long-standing automation sequence. And I always think that's sort of wise. You almost want to blend between, you don't want to rely on just automation, right? I mean, you guys all know that. And Marcus is just on the straight up activity base, but I think this it's good to have both in there for sure.
I think Marcus is automated.
The way that we always looked at it for StreetText was like this: is that if we were going to automate anything for our own business, and this is like if you were going to join our email list or anything else, we do automate the first few days, but then post a week, we actually custom write everything to everybody. Like when you get our emails and you get any of our daily emails or our weekly emails or whatever it may be that come specifically from Jonathan, that was written in the moment. That was not or written for the week or for the purpose. It needs to be relevant. And because what we used to find is if it was too scripted going out, it was kind of old. But if we wrote something that was relevant and timely, and I would actually say, I know it takes a little bit of time, but maybe you can hire a virtual assistant for it, or maybe you can find a resource. But if you send even just a weekly email to all of your database, and I wouldn't necessarily rely on just something that's automated. I would say send something that's personal, just a personal weekly email. And if you can't do it weekly, then do it monthly. We try to do it daily. We actually found increase the frequency as much as you can. So I would really encourage you to do one a week. But if you can just write a small email that's once a week to your entire list, and it might be just something you think of it almost as Instagram. Like you're just talking about either a story, maybe a listing that you saw, maybe a new listing you just took, or maybe why something sold super quick or maybe something is just happening in the market. And if you just send that once a week, people tune in and they watch that. So that's just another great thing to just put in your voice. You know, people can learn a little bit more about you. And anyways, that's our take. So I'm not a big believer in like 9 months worth of like automation, although it's almost, I would say I'd rather have 9 months worth of remind me to do something that's unique. That's almost like the task management, and then have someone on the team do something. That's personally how, you know, I look at it.
So here's why I asked this though. Think about it like this. It's always a numbers game. You have people turn around that say, hey, I've got 200 leads in the last 30 days. So let's run this out a year. You've got 2,000 plus in a database. I've got 3,000 plus in mine right now. And we always say, I go after the ones that are proactive. So if I got guys in the system, yes, I'm hitting them again, I'm hitting them. But you know, we always talk about touches, 7 to 10 touches to get a person to respond, things like that. So, I mean, my call center is great for me because they're calling, I got a live body calling a live body. But as far as the rest of the database, when I sat there, my big thing I said before was you worry about neglecting a database. So to get a touch of some kind, if I see an article, if I see something that's really cool, I can blast it out. And the way the automation is set up, their name is automatically put in and all that. It's all wonderful. If I see someone proactively looking, like if they come in right now and they like something, they favorite something, I always got the apps in the phone. I'm gonna turn around and pull it up on the MLS. I'll send it to them. I'll let them know something about it or whatever's going on, so they know they're getting a real person. If they respond to it, I respond to it. They know it's there. But like I say, the big thing is, you know, they always say work on like your top 20 or top 50 or top 100. If you're getting to the point where you've got hundreds or getting into the thousands, that's where the automation kind of comes in. And I do believe, yeah, you don't want to over automate, but I was on a Lab Code Agents live thing yesterday, and they were talking about the bomb and the automation. And so with Marcus being a bomb fanatic, that's why I wanted to know if he was doing anything with that.
No, I need to. I'm going to, just because of you, actually. I'll figure it out. George, what were you thinking about?
You know, and this is a suggestion. I would love to mastermind with everybody in this group, but also the StreetText team and everything, is I always look for outside opportunities. I used to be a big for sale by owner, terminated, expired agent, you know, Mike Ferry slamming the phones. That was more 2016, 17. In my marketplace, there's a lot of agents now doing it. Instead of 150, now there's like 400 agents. But I would love to find out or figure out with StreetText how we can maneuver or create ads with that potential automation on how we can maybe target for sale by owners. I just pulled up on the MLS right now. There's 244 for sale by owners just in my small little area. And in the last 30 days, there was 1,355 terminated expired listings. And I know, like, as real estate professionals with the, you know, a code of ethics, we're not supposed to solicit any business that's active, but you could always say past or future and create ads in order to say, you know, did your home not sell or go recently terminated and expired? Because this is what's going to happen is people could click on that and trigger an action. And what I'm getting right now, one of the StreetText leads for $399, we're getting ready to sell. They've had their home listed since I think it was March, and it hasn't sold yet. And they're just, it's a long-time agent. They have a long-time, you know, rapport with her, but they're trying to give her an extra 30 days before they terminate her because they saw my marketing, they saw my presentation, they clicked on the StreetText ad that I told them that 90% of buyers are online. And if I got you to interview me for your potential listing, just imagine what I'm going to do for buyers when I get your listing, you know, and that's how I showed them my portfolio and wiggle way in. You know, in my marketplace, 1,500 go terminated expired on average every 30 days. I would love to figure out a way and work with maybe Team StreetText or Mastermind, because I think if we create some awesome templates, that could be another angle. Because right now, how I look at it is the people that we are targeting are, it's like circle prospecting. Instead of me calling people, they're digitally door knocking and clicking on the ads.
Love it. That's smart. And just listed campaigns too, I've been getting requests for.
So on the for sale by owners, George, this is kind of funny because there's not a lot that I like. And I mean, I have low inventory. So what I do is I take the bomb and I go out and I do a quick video clip around the area for their home and the neighborhood and tell them, hey, and this is for camera shy people too. Don't make it about you, make it about their house. Because the minute they see their house show up on a picture, they're like, what the heck? And you know, you're looking to get a reaction. And so I love it with the for sale by owners because their number's on the sign. I take that number and either text the BombBomb video to them, or I can look and see what their cell phone provider is, and I can email them to their phone number. So I'll go ahead and I'll do a video about the house and just say, hey, Mr. and Smith, it's Leon for the Premier Houses team. So, you had your home on the market. Was just curious if you'd like to sit down and talk about it and see what you're looking to sell. And it's just like a 29, 30-second verb, go around to a little bit of the neighborhood, send it to them, and then include the link for your StreetText stuff so that when they get the video and they open it up, now they can also click the link to be pulled into your StreetText.
Outside the box thinking, that's amazing.
So,
Patricia, you there? You want to, I'll unmute you for yourself, or you can.
I got it. Thank you. So I've been doing bombs. I've been doing a lot of follow up, a lot of drip campaigns. I have drip campaigns from my own CRM as well going. The thing is, I can't get anybody to reply to me. And the ones that do say they're not ready yet, but will contact me in the future. So I have a different drip for them with different material, just, get your home ready kind of stuff. I've done a lot of CMA, so I do send a value range of about 50,000 without seeing the house. And then I do add, I can do better than this. Just give me a call. And some people have. So I've been able to speak to those. I've been in 2 listing appointments, but they're not ready yet. So it's just, like interviewing them and seeing how they're doing. One lady, I would love to get her because she said that as soon as she buys her house, her daughter has to move out. So her daughter has to buy a house. So it'll be a 2-in-1. It will be a sale and 2 purchases, which will be nice. But the thing we've been talking lately is door knocking. I'm not comfortable doing door knocking for personal reasons, and I can't get anybody in my office to do with me. So how, like for George that does this a lot, how do you get, comfortable doing the door knocking and the safety? My main thing is the safety, not just, approaching somebody to talk to them.
So
How about that?
exactly what you're saying is, you got to find a partner. So I have an amazing partner. Her name's Amanda. She works on my brokerage, and she's a female. And she told me, she goes, I don't feel comfortable. She goes, do you want to do it together? So what we're doing on StreetText specifically is we're just attacking it. And she has her roles. I have my roles. And when we go on listing appointments, we have our designated roles. But when we go door knocking, you should go with another pair because of what's going on. Beverly Carter's 5-year anniversary of her death and everything else. And I always tell everybody, you just got to protect yourself. You got to try and put yourself not in crazy situations. And I just find a partner. Find somebody that's as hungry as you or even more hungry and just take action. And the thing is, consistency, like anything else, is key. So every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I had to miss Wednesday and Friday of last week because my daughter's super sick. She's at the doctor's today, but jumping back on it today, and we're going to knock out 5 to 7 homes. But I definitely would try and find a partner in your office. And if it's nobody in your office, try and look outside your office, somebody that might be wanting to join you or move offices and take action and just say, here's our agreement. We're going to split it this way. I'm getting these leads. I'm paying for these leads. You can pay me, or you do a split from it just to help you door knock and co-list them.
Smart.
I can't co-list. Our office is not allowed to do it, so I can't get anybody else from another office.
Referral fees.
Right. I've been doing referral fees. I've referred out a few that are not in my main area, but it's been the talk of the week. It's door knocking, just because since I can't get anybody to reply, maybe I'll get them to say hi to me once I knock on their door. But
I guarantee, I was gonna say, I guarantee there's some agent out there that's as hungry as you are. Maybe it's even in a Facebook group or something. Just say, hey, this is what I'm looking to do. This is the area I'm looking to work. Is anybody else interested? I don't know if you have any Facebook groups within the community with other real estate agents, but there's going to be somebody out there that would be happy to partner with you. I guarantee it. It just might be, you have to kind of put it out there a little bit.
And don't forget,
Yeah.
Don't forget to find them as well. Like don't neglect the Facebook search when possible. pull up the tax records, find them, send them friend requests, whatever you can do to get face-to-face. Continue like sending them mail, let them know that you're going to be in the neighborhood next week with the mail the week before, so they can know like you're going to be coming by, and they let them know that you've sent them a friend request, drop them a message, that type of stuff. So you keep on reinforcing that you're going to get in front of them.
Yeah, I have a lot of people on my pending request folder.
So you've dropped them in the list then, right?
Yeah.
So go back to that folder, and oftentimes every week, cancel the pending request and resend it again so it's a new notification.
Okay, yeah, I'll try that.
Don't leave the pending in there. It'll still lock them in the list. I always cancel it, resend it. That's exactly how I became friends with Tom Ferry. six friend requests canceled and sent later. So you just gotta be tenacious.
Yeah, I see.
Awesome. All right, guys, we're coming to the end of the hour. Anybody want to finish with anything they'd like to say or something that's just pressing on their mind? Nope. Awesome. All right, I'm looking for more participants next mastermind, or I'm just going to start calling you out, even those that don't have their video on. I'm just be like, Josh, Haley, you're talking, or Mario, you're talking, Judith. I can see all you guys here. Dee, everybody who's here just listening in. I'd love to see you guys interact. I know there's pressing questions, things that are on your mind, things you'd like to get more help with. This is what we're here for.
The thing I always remember, there's no dumb question. There really is. Sometimes the question you ask can get everybody going down a path to something even better. That's why the purpose behind the mastermind is shared knowledge. The sum of the total and the whole makes it really, really good.
I want to add on to what Leon's saying, and it's true. Don't just sit here and watch Leon, myself, or, Misty or Debbie or anybody contribute, because if you're having troubles, this is where you might want to say and raise your hand and just say, can somebody help me? And if nobody on the StreetText team has the specific answer, there's probably somebody on this webinar that could help you and spend extra time. StreetText is here to help and support us. Look at this mastermind group. This mastermind group is worth more than $200 by itself. Forget the system in itself. I invited Kevin O'Keefe, who's here, and he's thinking about jumping into StreetText, and I told him about it because I said, look, it's working. And it's one of those things that if you have questions on, okay, you haven't started the actual program or StreetText, you haven't done your trial, or you're halfway through your trial, or you just finished your trial and you're thinking about selling, reach out to us, because we're here to try and help and support each other, not just take up space.
Love it. Thanks, guys.
That's awesome. Thanks, George.
Marley, I'll be talking with you shortly. All right. We'll talk soon, guys.
Thanks, Marcus.